Good evening and welcome to From the 80s View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. Tonight's show is very special because not only will I be speaking to you about things from my point of view, I'm introducing a new show that we're going to have here on the Leon Thomas Network. It's called Kings of Sports. And what that is, um, myself, Dr. AJ Anderson, Dr. Timothy Felton, and Bodine Sanders all are collaborating to put together some content that we are going to take on the road. And it's a play on something that many might be familiar with, the Kings of Comedy, right? But it's four young men that have gone through um, the collegiate experience, the high school experience in athletics, and how it has changed our lives. And just a little bit about our mission statement is what the Kings of Comedy stands for. And our mission statement is to inspire and empower students and student athletes to achieve their full potential academically, athletically, and in life. And the pillars that we are talking or are going to talk about this evening are relationships, development, student success, mental health, wellness, and athlete identity. We're going to talk about this and more on From the 80s View. Let's get it. Welcome back to the show. Before I get started, as I do before every show, I want to give honor to God, who's the head of my life, because without him, nothing that I do would be possible. And I want to give a very special thank you also to Mr. Leon Thomas of the Leon Thomas Group, who makes my show. He makes my show possible, right? He's our producer. And then on today's show also is Miss Jasmine Pollock, who's behind the scenes. Want to thank her from First Impression Sports Talk, Miss Jasmine Pollock. But I want to thank each and every one of them. But let's get started now. One of our kings of sports is Dr. AJ Anderson. And Dr. AJ Anderson is a brother from a different mother. And he's a young man that is at Bowie State right now as a professor of sport management. And Dr. AJ Anderson is an integral part of what we're doing in Kings of Sports. Let's welcome Dr. AJ Anderson. AJ, how you doing, Doc?
I'm well, Dr. Brown. How are you today? Thanks for having me.
If I were any more blessed, I'd be twins, man.
Love it.
How you doing, man? How's everything going?
I'm blessed. I can't complain, honestly. Like, this is Easter weekend, so I am.
Absolutely.
Yes.
At death, burial, and resurrection.
Yes.
Hey, really briefly, one of the pillars that we came up with Kings of Sports is student success. In a few words, tell the audience, our viewers, what student success means to us in Kings of Sports.
So when you think about student success here, we want to think about how well our students are prepared to accomplish their academic goals, their personal goals, and career goals through school and community resources there. And I really think about three areas: striving for academic excellence, having a healthy balance, and that's academic as well as social and personal life, and then also being mentally healthy. That's a big topic now, but I think for you to achieve success as a student is you have to really be mentally healthy during your academic career.
Well, I appreciate that, Dr. Anderson. And you are an integral part of what we're going to be doing and then how we travel. So thank you for being on the show. And now let me switch to Dr. Timothy Felton. Dr. Timothy Felton currently is with the Ferguson-Florissant School District as the dean in the district. He's a published author a father, a grandfather, and an outstanding individual. Let's welcome Dr. Timothy Felton to the show.
Good evening.
Man, Dr. Felton, how you doing, man?
Doing well, man.
I know it. Hey, again, you are part of what we are starting as Kings of Sports, Dr. Felton, and you are such an outstanding individual, right? You and your wife. And can you talk about the other pillar, um, athlete identity, and then can you introduce your book?
Yes. So for athlete identity, to me, it's a degree when an athlete identifies with their sport. Um, just like LeBron James said in one of his quotes, we're more than an athlete. So for me, like I said, growing up playing football and running track, I recognized early on that I played football and I wasn't just a football player. So,
Sure.
like I said, I think athlete identity, like I said, a lot of times when you come to the end of your career, a lot of athletes have a problem with transitioning from their sports to their careers after that. So, like I said, I think it's very important that we'll be touching on athlete identity because, like I said, it will help the student athletes to identify who they are outside of their sport.
I appreciate that, Dr. Felton. Can you tell everybody about your new book, Black Boys Matter?
Yeah, Black Boy Matter was released in February during Black History Month. Uh, it's a collaboration with me, one of my former coworkers that worked in law enforcement with me, Taryn Coleman. I also have contributing writers, which all the kings of sports writers that's here on the show today actually contributed to the book as well. It's just kind of like an overview of kind of going through why Black boys matter in this society. Touch on the education piece with dealing with Black boys. Also, like I said, was in law enforcement, so through the juvenile justice system, and also, like I said, talked a little bit about absent fathers in there as well. Chapter 5 is the bulk of the book, where I looked at Black perspectives from different perspectives of Black people, whether it was teachers, social workers, ADs, entrepreneurs, coaches, counselors, parents. I have some Black boys that actually contributed to the writing as well. So I think it's a good piece for everybody to go out and get and read. But like I said, it was inspired pretty much by myself and, like I said, one of my former law enforcement coworkers, Taryn Coleman. Just like I said, working through law enforcement, mentoring students, coaching. So yeah, I think it's a great read. Hopefully, everybody go out and get
It
a
is.
copy of it.
It is. And for those of you watching our show right now, you can scan the QR code right there. The book is on Amazon.com, and it is a great read. I did contribute. All of the Kings of Sports contributed, and I had a great time doing it. So thank you for that, Dr. Felton. You're watching From the AD's View. We are on the Leon Thomas uh, network, and love the fact that we have an opportunity to bring this platform to you. And now, last but not least, we call him Big Brother Bo. Bodine Sanders is a dynamic gentleman in the community of Philadelphia. He is an author. He has his own public television show that deals with different uh, thoughts and ideas that are going on in the community. And he is a former collegiate athlete. Had a stint with the NFL, and we just love him being our big brother in what we're trying to do. Let's welcome Mr. Bodine Sanders to the show. Big brother Bo, how you doing, man?
Dr. Brown, how are you?
I'm blessed, man. How are you?
Good, good. Happy Easter weekend.
Yes, sir. You as well. You as well. So, Bo, you are someone that has been in this community doing things for all people, right? And specifically, you've been doing things to help enlighten what the student of color goes through from an athletic standpoint. One of the pillars that we talk about in the five, you will address during while we're on the road, while we're presenting things like that. It's relationships. Can you talk a little bit about that, Bo, and then talk about your book, please?
Absolutely. Well, when you think about the college experience and each of the pillars that Dr. Anderson, Dr. Felton, and you cover, they all meet in the same intersection, right? And so my overall experience is very unique. I began my career at an HBCU and then transferred and graduated from a PWI. So I wrote about and I talk about my experience, and let's talk about it: diversity, equity, and inclusion from a positive perspective, right? And how I had an opportunity to build relationships across different socioeconomic backgrounds, religion, ethnicity, all the above, because I migrated from Florida to the North. So everything, my memoir is a binary narrative, right? I'm comparing two different environments, two different sides of the coin, however analogies and cliches you want to use. But the bottom line is I bring together how we're all interconnected at some point, and athletics brings us together and allows us the opportunity to find those things that we have in common.
Sure.
And it's about building relationships.
Yes, sir. And your book, can you talk a little bit about your book?
Absolutely. Race Against Race, My Journey of Diversity and Inclusion Through Sports, talks about just exactly what we're talking about, how I was able to build relationships in every environment, from every community, from every situation, be it at Cheyney University, the oldest HBCU in the United States, and then transferring and graduating from Villanova. And let me just add and make make a correction. I had a very small taste of the professional leagues, and the only way that and I write about it in my book. I went to a combine. I was lucky enough to have Mr. Julius Irving, most folks call Dr. J, through his agent, get me an opportunity to go to a combine, and that's it. I never had a real opportunity to participate in a practice or on a field. So I appreciate you elevating me, brother. I really do. But that was my only stint. I participated in a combine, and that's it. So.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Because that's what we talk about all the time, not embellishing, but elevating, Can we bring back the other kings, please? So, fellas, we were put together by a divine entity, right? I believe that God brought us all together because I did not know Big Brother Bo. I didn't know Dr. AJ Anderson. And then I met Dr. Felton through LinkedIn, right? So at one point in time, we all had something to say that was uplifting, enlightening. It might have had a spiritual connotation to it. And we connected with one another, right? And I believe that in talking with each one of us, that collaboratively, on separate occasions, we came up with the thoughts of doing something that we can give back to other people with our experiences. Dr. Felton, can you talk a little bit about how you believe, before we go to break, how you believe that this whole collaboration, and we call it a divine collaboration, right? That's in our tag. How it all came together.
Yeah, like you said, I had met Bodine also through LinkedIn. We had connected through LinkedIn, and like I said, we collaborated. We was trying to go out and do collaborate together, do speaking engagements. And so we got together, we met maybe twice a week, and we talked about how we was going to go about doing that. And one of the emails that he sent was to you, Dr. Said. But at that particular time, like I said, being an AD at the collegiate level, I'm quite sure you was very busy, and like I say, he had never heard back. And then you posted something else on LinkedIn. I think I responded to it on LinkedIn, and from that point, we collaborated together. Like I said, we
Yeah.
exchanged numbers and we talked. And once we talked, you went back and had understanding that Brother Bodine had actually reached out to you. And
Right.
so we got together. And then, like I said, Dr. AJ, like I said, ended up coming into the fold as well. We kind of spoke about the collaboration, divine collaboration, and how we was going to go about doing this. And like I said, the Kings of Comedy did come up, which they had 4 comedians to go on the
Right.
road and share their comic views. So for us, like I said, we came up with the Kings of Sports, and that's kind of how we came into this divine collaboration as a team.
Right. And I will be the first one to, because we have jokes in this group right here, right? And if anybody, if we had to compare ourselves to the 4 kings of comedy, our brother Timothy Felton would definitely be Sayed the Entertainer, even though my name is Sayed. And so the running joke is that I ghosted Big Brother Bo. I did not ghost him. I did not ghost Big Brother Bo. But hey, fellas, stay with me, right? I got to take a quick break, and then we'll come right back and we'll pick up more of this. You are watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. We'll be right back after this break.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Welcome back. You're watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. Today we're talking about the Kings of Sports, a new show that's coming to Leon Thomas Group Network. And before I get back to that, I want to talk a little bit about my book. I had an opportunity to write something, and it was powerful, and Brother Timothy Felton helped me with that. And it's How Black Men Overcome Racial Barriers and the Status Quo in NCAA Institutions. And like Brother Bo said, it is a positive look on how, even if there's barriers, perceived racial barriers or real racial barriers, how did the individuals that I talked to overcome those from a positive standpoint? And there's 3 themes that came out of the book. Benefits of role models, and we will talk about that in Kings of Sports and the curriculum that we bring when we go out into the community. The role model expectations, and then also perceived racial barriers, right? How do we do those things? And you can scan the QR code that you see on your screen. My book also is in Amazon.com. Screen, take a picture or click on the QR code, and it'll take you right there. You also can reach me on cedricmbrown.org. That is my website. If you want to see past episodes, you go to cedricmbrown.org. If you'd like to find out what other resources that I can provide you and help you, go to that same website, cedricmbrown.org. Or if you'd like to be a guest on the show on From the AD's View, I'd love to have you. Go on cedricmbrown.org and email me. From the AD's View is shown at 6:40 Central, 7:40 Eastern on Sunday evenings on the Leon Thomas Network. Again, if you have a desire to have a platform, have a voice, please get in contact with Mr. Leon Thomas and the Leon Thomas Group. They will absolutely help make dreams come true, because right now you are watching a divine dream come true right now. And that's thanks to Mr. Leon Thomas and the rest of our crew that makes this happen. Let's bring back the Kings. Dr. Anderson,
Yes.
you are the one that is that has as great of a sense of humor as each one of us. What has this divine collaboration between the four of us meant to you, Dr. Anderson?
I tell you, this has been an awesome experience. Just connecting with you, and I know Bo talked about relationships, and that's the piece. But I think relationships are key, and that is how I got into this group here. And my former high school basketball coach, Matt Virjanic, knew Mr. Leon Thomas, and when I told him that I moved down to Maryland, and Coach Virjanic, I call him, he connected me with Leon Thomas, and since then Leon has been amazing. I also talked to him as being one of my mentors, so I've learned so much from him, and he got me connected with you, Sid, and had an opportunity to be on your show, and just through this connection.
And you hosted my show.
Yes, and I hosted a show as well, and just through the connections with Leon, with yourself, and then I was able to meet Dr. Felton and Bodine. So this has been great. It's been a learning experience for me, and just a way to connect with guys who think like I do. So with the academic component as well as the athletic component, and want to give back. So that is truly important to me, as whatever I can do. I didn't make it here on my own, so I want to be able to support those, to help those that may have some struggles, and I want to be able to serve as a resource, and working with this group here, KOS, is a great opportunity for me to be able to do that. Absolutely.
And we came up with the 5 pillars that we will recognize and that we will discuss all the time. 2 of the ones that we haven't talked about yet are development and mental health wellness, right? And I think Dr. Felton touched on the mental health wellness piece earlier in the show. But Big Brother Bo, can you talk a little bit about the development piece and how that is important to our conversation?
Absolutely. Development is important for the audience and the target audience that we're trying to speak to. Student development, right? Having those resources available so the students on any level, be it middle school, high school, or college, right? Having the resources so they can reach their full potential. And that's about development, right? And so there are different categories of development, right? There's the educational development, the social development, the mental development, the physical development. There's so many areas that students need to continue to learn, right? So they can grow and become that full-blown adult when they finish high school, college, and go on to their professional career in whichever career they choose, right, be it in athletics or non-athletics.
Absolutely. So we've been working on a curriculum for our show, for our presentation. We are working right now with potential community sponsors that each of us have, touched out to and things like that. Can we talk a little bit, fellas, about our curriculum and the way that it goes? The show, I am the show's host, right? The Steve Harvey, if you will. I'm going to try to be as funny as Steve Harvey when I present all of you. But the way that our show goes is because Dr. AJ Anderson, Dr. Timothy Felton, has a uh, he's dealt with more. We've all dealt with it, but he's dealt with more and is dealing with more of the middle school to high school age. We're going to bring him out, and then Dr. AJ Anderson is dealing with the high school to the college age. I am in collegiate athletics, teach at the college level, like both Dr. AJ Anderson and Dr. Timothy Felton. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with Big Brother Bo, the Bernie Mac, if you will. He's going to bring the whole show together. So can we start that way? And Dr. Felton, really, can you talk a little bit about the curriculum that you're going to present in the show and how that's going to be impactful for families, students, student athletes, and parents?
Yes. Like I said, I'm doing the middle school portion of it. Like I said, you have to understand as middle school student athletes, they're in the middle. They're not elementary, they're not middle school, so they're directly in the middle. But I think it plays a crucial part and role in the development of young athletes. It also gives opportunity for teamwork, discipline, physical activity, and goal setting. As you know, in today's society, like I said, they're starting younger with offers. I've seen some 8th graders receive college offers from college coaches. Like I
Absolutely.
said, as a student athlete, we must also remember that at that time, we still should be having fun, even though, like you said, it's getting more competitive at that particular level. And we also must understand that, like I said, they're not at the high school level at that point, so they should be focusing on, like I said, having fun. Another
Having fun.
as student athletes, like I said, we have to understand the generation that we're in, and those student athletes are in Gen Z, right? A lot of them
Yes, sir.
are another category, but you have to understand that they're very good in using technology, finding visual ways to actually learn. And one of the things I do with a lot of the middle school, whether it's teaching them or talking with them or coaching middle school athletes, I try to have an understanding of how they learn. So some people are audio learners, some are visual, and some are hands-on. So once I figure out which group you're in, I kind of group them in those particular categories. And for me, like I said, as a mentor and as a coach, that pretty much helps me out, like I said, with working with those middle school athletes.
Well, that's it's going to be a great show, and that curriculum is absolutely on point, Dr. Felton. Thank you for that. And Dr. AJ, tell us a little bit about your curriculum and how impactful it will be for individuals in the community.
Thanks. So I'll break it down in about four areas here. So goal setting is extremely important here. So I want students, especially high school students, to really start thinking about setting goals if they haven't done so already. So you want short-term goals as well as some of your long-term goals, and this is academically. We're talking personally, and as well as your career goals as well. So think about those goals, and then what steps are you going to take to be able to achieve those goals? What are you going to do? You have to start that right now. What goals are you going to do? Secondly is mentorship, and mentorship is extremely important. Understanding to build relationships with mentors, those who are positive mentors who are going to be able to help you. Some that maybe, if you know what career you want to get into, then some folks that are in the field where, I look at us as a resource. So, we can always serve as mentors, but finding someone would be a positive mentor for you is key in that. Handling adversity, that is my third piece, and this is something that we all go through. And I mentioned the acronym STORM, and what that is seasonal trauma overwhelming a right mind. And we all go through these storms, and how do you handle that? And I think going back to mentorship, that's a piece, and family, and is a piece that will be able to help navigate through that space. I went through that as a high school athlete. I blew my knee out in my high school, my junior year, so that was something that I had to deal with. And then finally, the last piece is being able to find the right college. If so,
fit, right?
Yes, you want to find a college that is the best fit for you. So this is an area that I've done research on, and I want to be able to talk to you about some things, and I want to know what's important for you whenever you're choosing your school. So don't just choose it on, all right, well, this school gives me the most NIL money, or this school just does this. I want you to I want to talk to you and give you some gems about what I need to know exactly. What's important to you? What are your values? And I want to be able to give you some keys to help you find the right fit for your school, not just one thing. So we're looking at multiple areas in helping you choose the right school, because then that's part of retention. That's you going through and finishing and graduating. So that goes back to the student success. So choosing the right school, not just because, all right, well, this was your favorite player went there, or, your favorite athlete, or, this is a city you like. So we'll talk about different components there.
Doing it for you. And that's great. Dr. Anderson, thank you for that. And my portion in it, briefly, is just postgraduate, looking at it from the student athlete perspective, relationships, like they said, developing character, developing all the things that you want to do to be the best version of yourself, as our mission statement says, and then trying to figure out how, after that athlete identity, how you want to take those God-given skills and your learned abilities with you. And then we wrap it up with Big Brother Bo. Big Brother Bo, you're gonna bring it home with us. Can you tell us briefly, before we close the show, how you're going to be able to wrap up all those things with the anecdotal experiences that you've had as a student athlete?
Absolutely. And again, we all have similar experiences and different experiences. So we're going to meet again in the cross section, or the intersection, right, on that same highway, talking about all of the information that these student athletes and parents, or folks who want to hear our message here. But when we're talking about relationships, we're talking about development, social development. We're talking about discipline. We're talking about kids living their dream, and teaching them how they need to how they can accomplish their dream, right? We meet, as Dr. Felton said, we meet them where they are, right?
Yes, sir.
Meeting them where they are. And each of you have your PhD, right? I do not. So what did I do? I took the opportunity to become an educator like each of you, right? And I am a substitute teacher. I just started a few months ago, because I want to put myself in that environment so I can see what's happening with the students and the student athletes. That way I can be able to offer some resources and information where they feel they can get something out of it. So I may not have the PhD like the rest of my King of Sports brothers, but I'm on campuses at least twice, maybe 3 times a week, gaining and visualizing what is happening on campus, so we can put together a curriculum as we are now, and it can have a positive effect. So that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. And make no mistake that what we've done educationally to achieve those goals does not overshadow what you've done, Bo. You are an amazing man and do amazing things for people in the community, people that look like us and our allies and our counterparts. So I want to say that. And as we close, if you're watching this episode, please get in contact with us real briefly, fellas. And I'll start with you, Big Brother Bo. Can you tell people how they can get in contact with you?
Oh, easy. SandersBodine@gmail.com.
Okay. And then Dr. Timothy Felton, can you tell them how they can get in contact with you, sir?
Yes, my email is tfelton63@gmail.com.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, Dr. AJ Anderson.
Yes, and my email is dr.alexjanderson@gmail, which you can see below.
Absolutely, absolutely. Fellas, I I love you, and I thank you for getting up early in the morning. I know that Dr. Felton was out last night with his queen, took her to a gospel concert, as he always does, date nights and things like that. So I appreciate you, and Brother Boa, you and Dr. Anderson on the East Coast, so you had to get up early this morning, and Dr. Anderson, our niece was on our Zoom Thursday night, and she was trying to get some airtime with Uncle Kings and everything. So I appreciate you all. But before we leave, I cannot let this go. Just in a word, can you just tell me what spirituality or faith means to each one of you, Dr. Anderson?
Man, just one word.
Yeah, just because I gotta wrap it up. LT, how he
Blessed.
is.
That's all I can say. I'm gonna say blessed. That's it. Blessed.
I appreciate that. Dr. Felton?
Love.
Okay. All right. Big Brother Bo?
Foundation. It's our foundation.
I like that. And I'm going to say perpetual, right? It's ongoing. That faith is ongoing. So, fellas, kings, I appreciate you so much. I look forward to our journey. I look forward to us putting something positive into the communities at large. Again, if you're watching this show right now, you will be watching a Kings of Sports podcast presented by the Leon Thomas Group. We're trying to get it so that it's in and around the NFL draft, because we're going to collaborate with Miss Jasmine Pollock in First Impression Sports to do that. And I'm just so grateful and thankful to have you brothers by my side as we go out in the community and we present the Kings of Sports.
Thank you.
I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate each and one. Thank you so much. And as I close the show, as I do all the time, I want to talk about one thing in particular, and it is collaboration, right? There's no way that I should know any of these brothers. I should not know Leon Thomas. It was definitely a divine collaboration that brought us all together. We are all men of faith. We are all men that believe that things happen for a reason, that there's no coincidence. And this collaboration is doing remarkable things, giving me an opportunity to do From the 80s View, giving me an opportunity to meet special people like Leon Thomas, Jay Rosenko, and definitely Miss Jasmine Pollock. She has definitely changed my life. And if you haven't seen First Impression Sports Talk, you need to find Jasmine Pollock and watch many of her episodes, because she's outstanding. So again, collaborate whenever you can. Get ideas, get thoughts, share those thoughts with others. Bring thoughts to the table. Collaboration will bring you a long way, and it will propel you in the things that you want to do. You're watching From the 80s View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. Good night, and God bless.